bringing safety to people everywhere they go. Please meet Sidekick.
A young girl in San Francisco is walking home at night from her dinner meeting with her colleagues in a new part of the city she's never been to. She feels confident in her ability to get home, since it's just a few blocks away. But suddenly, a man appears in a hoodie behind her as she approaches an unknown street and robs her. Unfortunately, this experience is shared by many travelers. In San Francisco alone, the chance of becoming a victim of crime is 1 in 16, which is simply not acceptable. Introducing Sidekick.
The solution to combat the saddening occurrence in the US, Sidekick is the first street-by-street, safety-based navigation app on the marketplace. Using crime data, our app suggests the safest possible routes of travel for walkers and bikers to stay safe in unfamiliar areas. We employed a decision tree's machine learning algorithm to measure the violence of crime and sort it into 5 major categories, allowing us to measure the degree of each crime committed.
After we completed this, we began to design the front end of our app using the Mapbox API, which proved very useful for prototype testing. In the future, we hope for users to be able to access the navigational capabilities of our app through their mobile device, inputting their origin, destination, and getting the safest possible route.
Our app has 2 great features that help set us apart, besides being the only smart safety-based navigation app out there. One is that we have multiple features built into our app, including real-time proprietary and historic data, an ML safety rating algorithm, and an instant call for help button for users to alert emergency contacts or the police. Second, the user simplicity allows users to put in their route and see the total travel time, walking or biking time, a rating of all suggested routes on a scale of 1 to 10, and all safety events that have occurred on the selected route in the last 15 years.
Over the past few weeks, we have reached over 1,000 people through our Sidekick accounts on Instagram. For initial market testing, we began reaching out to users via word of mouth and connections of each group member. In the future, we plan to reach out to San Francisco-based businesses and safety-based companies via connections, emails, and phone calls. We have reached out to 30 test users with diverse ethnicity, genders, and age ranging from 18 to 35. Our data shows that many have felt unsafe when traveling, especially walking in new cities. They have validated the need for a safety navigation app like Sidekick.
During phase 1 of our financial plan, in which SF-based beta testing will take place, we plan to market our app free of cost in order to gain data, reviews, and customer feedback. During this stage, our initial income will be from local business advertising partnerships, similar to the Waze app model.
In the future, after beta testing and customer feedback, our goal is to launch Sidekick at $10 per month per user. Beyond individual user monthly plans, we will also introduce an enterprise subscription-based model for large companies. These bundle subscriptions can be leveraged to provide Sidekick as a free benefit to their employees. And of course, all of this will be in addition to our initial revenue-generating ad model with both local businesses and safety-related businesses like insurance companies and self-defense organizations. By the end of 2021, we plan to reach over 300 users in San Francisco and have multiple partnerships with local businesses. Sidekick is the app that is needed for all travelers to stay safe, since you are the hero, and we are your sidekick guiding you along the way.
All right. Who wants to start the questions?
How does your app determine what is a threat?
Yeah, I can answer that. So how our app works is it takes data from government websites in terms of crime, and then in terms of how dangerous crimes is, we employ a decision tree's machine learning algorithm that groups it into 5 major categories of crime, such as murder, burglaries, petty theft, etc. And based off that, each crime is given a rating, and that rating increases the weightage of how dangerous that street is going to be. And in the end, it gives a rating 1 through 10, 10 being the most dangerous and 1 being the most safe.
All right, Christina.
Yeah, I think this is a really great idea. I just have one concern about needing to be on your phone and not paying attention to what you're doing when you're walking down the street. Even though it might be telling you the best route to take, I wonder how you guys would get around that. I don't know if that was something you considered.
Yeah, so I think one way that we have tried to figure out different ways to also keep people safe is by adding instant call for help button, where users can basically click on this, which would call either their family members or 911 immediately. And as well as that, we can also tell users to keep their eyes up. A similar way when you're using any traffic navigation app on your car, you wouldn't be looking at the navigation app 24/7, but you'd look up, look at your surroundings, and of course, we'll try to keep them safe the best that we can.
All right, Tulio.
Your customers right now have alternatives. How do you plan to compete? So currently, our competitors are actually more in the market of traffic navigation, while we are focusing on safety-based navigation in terms of crime data. So in that field right now, there's not many competitors, and the main competitors are looking at overall aerial zoning crime data, where we're focusing on street-by-street based data, which is why we're one of the leads in the field at this time.
Sam?
Hi. How do you get your data? Is it like what aspect of the government is getting you that data?
Yeah, so I can answer that question. So I searched this up, and we were given a data set from San Francisco outlining the streets and then the amount of crimes that occurred in the street for the past 15 years. And this is actually required by each city in the United States to give. So our data set comprises of all those cities, and the data set comprises of the streets, the amount of crimes committed in a year for that street, and then all of that data for the past 15 years. And then in terms of the other portion of data that we generate is the violence of crime, which I explained before by grouping crime into 5 major categories, and based off that category, give it a violence of crime score. That is how our data set is built up.
All right, Darlene.
Are you working with or planning to work with local police departments?
Yeah, so always open to different partnerships to keep people safe. So as I mentioned with the call for help button, that would be directly connected to the police station or whatever emergency contacts there are in the area. Again, we also are connected with the governments for the data which we collect as well. In the future, we'd also be talking to local businesses for our advertising payments as well.
Christina, do you have another question?
I haven't asked one yet. So,
sorry, Alec. Go ahead.
Yeah, you have one major optics thing that you're gonna have to think about. You need to avoid any possibility of this being seeming like it's racially or class biased, which is one of the main hurdles of crime. How do you plan on overcoming that, given that even the Fair Housing Act explicitly prohibits people from talking about crime rates during selling houses?
Yeah, so there's actually 2 parts to answering this question. First is technical and second is branding. So I'll address the technical portion and then Adarsh can handle the branding. So in terms of the technical aspect, definitely this, as well as most machine learning projects, racism and all of these other things, especially biased data, is a very prominent concern. So I took this into account and made sure that I removed illegal incarcerations through creating an algorithm which finds biases in the data and removes them. I can explain that more in technical terms if you'd like me to, but
also a little bit more on the branding side as well. We also created our app on the idea that we are their sidekick, and instead of really pushing people away from these dangerous areas, we're trying to show that this is what's already happening in the area, and this is just another tool for you to keep yourself safe, since they are the priority, and we're trying to focus on their safety above all.
All right, thank you guys. All right, so idea, technology, the name, creativity, very cool.